Hello everyone, my name is Summer Lafferty. In the classroom, I'm called Miss Summer because sometimes my name is kind of hard to pronounce for younger students. But today we'll be discussing a technology-infused lesson plan, which is just a lesson plan that has technology uses for the students and the teacher within the lesson. This lesson is for a third grade English language arts class, and we're going to be discussing character traits within this lesson. The big idea of this lesson is for students to just understand character traits through textual evidence, meaning passages, books, being able to connect that, which improves their reading comprehension skills. The goal of this lesson is to meet state standards that have to be met within the school year and achieve the three objectives within the lesson plan. In this lesson, the state standards we are going to be discussing is ELA 3.7 and ELA 3.3. ELA 3.7 is determine the meaning of words and phrases as they're used in literary text and distinguishing literal and from non-literal language. ELA 3.3, we're going to be describing characters in a literal story and explain how their actions contribute to the story. Our objectives are Objective 1. By the end of the lesson, students will identify character traits using key details from the text with 95% accuracy. Objective number 2. By the end of the lesson, students will be able to describe a character's motivations and activities based on textual evidence with 85% accuracy. Objective number 3. By the end of the lesson, students will create a digital character trait map using evidence from the story with 80% accuracy. They will have an example of a character trait map given to them within the assessment on Google Classroom. Instructional strategies. So I'm going to teach this lesson plan using a TPA template. So I'm going to be implementing activating prior knowledge, then go into direct instruction, go into guided practice, and then give them some independent practice with the character trait map. During the activating prior knowledge, I'm going to be at the front of the room. I'm going to ask students what they believe character traits are to just get their minds flowing and see what information they already know about character traits before we begin the lesson. Then I'm going to explain to students the different character traits using photos. Funny, nice, and dishonest is the ones that we're going to cover in activating prior knowledge. So I'll just bring in pictures of someone laughing, someone hugging someone, and so forth. Direct instruction. So this is where I'm going to be giving them instructions in how you find character traits within textual evidence. So I'm going to pull up this slideshow that was already pre-made from SlideServe. This explains character traits and how to find them. I'm going to be bringing that up on the smartboard, so that's a technology use on the teacher side. In the slideshow, I'm going to make sure that I go over each slide in detail, make sure that students understand how we're going to find those character traits within textual evidence. Then we're just going to wrap up the direct instruction by watching a short YouTube video up on the smartboard that explains character traits. Just give a break from students just hearing a teacher's voice. Within the guided practice, we're going to be going into me drawing name sticks, and we're going to be reading Because of Winn-Dixie. The students will have to get on their iPad and bring Because of Winn-Dixie up under materials on Google Classroom. I will also bring the book up on the smartboard, which is a technology use on my side. I'll be choosing students to read each paragraph. We'll read and follow along together as a class within Chapter 1. There is their Google Classroom invite. I will be putting that up on the board before they get access to Google Classroom. We're going to go into some independent practice. The students are going to be doing the assignment on their self with no help. So students will use Canva, put the link within the Google Classroom for them to be able to create that. They're going to be creating a character map to submit through Google Classroom assessment labeled Canva Character Map. The students will create a character map on Canva using the first chapter that we read together in Guided Practice because of Winn-Dixie. This map should show the character's name and 3 traits of the character in specific examples, such as quotes and examples from the story that tie to that trait that they're listing. After completing, students will click the share button in Canva, change it to can view so nobody can edit it when they have the link, and copy the link into the submission tab within the Google Classroom assignment. There's also going to be a teacher-made examples and rubric for the assignment that we're going to be also going over at the end and how I made that. So some adaptations and accommodations. The whole class instruction will initially be delivered, and students who need additional help will receive it, such as students with IEPs and 504s. And in the SAT process, they'll be given extended time, simplified oral directions, visuals, positive reinforcement, some help on their independent practice if they need it, redirection, just any kind of help that they need or anything that they would need. So student activities that we're going to be doing during this lesson plan. The students are going to be designing a digital character trait map to show the understanding, which is their independent practice, and highlighting evidence in a digital story text. So within designing that digital character trait map, they're going to be having to go into the story because of Winn-Dixie and highlight evidence in the digital story to be able to put into their character trait map. So how we're going to be evaluating this is a formative, is observation of class discussion when we're doing the guided practice and the direct instruction, not the guided practice. And then a summative evaluation will be their independent practice of the digital character trait map to see that they took the material away from the lesson and can apply it. Environmental variables, interruptions from the intercom and technology not working. So if the technology such as the smartboard or somebody's iPad is messed up, that could be an environmental variable that could set the lesson plan behind. Materials we're going to be using, smartboard at the front of the classroom. We're going to be using Google Classroom. I used Google Docs to share text within the Google Classroom because of Winn-Dixie, which is a book on AnyFlip that is a digital book, and then we're going to be using a pre-made slideshow. Teacher technology that was used during this lesson plan was the smartboard and the Elmo, Google Docs to create the assessment, which is their independent practice, and Google Classroom for the assessment. Student technology used was their iPads, Google Classroom, and the links provided. So here is my rubric that I created. I created this on Ruby Star. This is the character trait rubric and is listed in Google Classroom for the students to look at and based upon how they're going to be graded within that character trait map. And I appreciate you guys listening to my lesson plan.